Good morning, traders. Welcome to this live webinar with Elite Currency. My name is Chris Forsik, and we're going to take a look at automated trading and also ECS news, Elite Currency news in general. We're now at the end of September, so soon finishing a month, and also the third quarter of 2020 already, and going into the last one, in fact, of this year. So we'll have new monthly results to look at next week in next week's webinar. As the last trading day should be, I think, tomorrow. So we still have 2 days left. Let's see what we get out of those last 2 days. First of all, we got some topics to cover. I wanted to, besides automated trading, wanted to give you some heads up and news, what's going on with ECS. First of all, as you might know, Nenet has his Black Widow system, trading it already for months now, and has been doing great stuff with that. So check that out if you're interested. There's a special discount still valid in September. So today and tomorrow is the last days. So if you're interested in that, make sure to reach out to us or go ahead, of course, and become a member. You can see here the sale that's valid right now. Or we also have the LOA, London Open Advanced EA special sale. That's not necessary for September, though. You can join with this automated expert advisor. We talked about the LOA EA in full detail in last week's webinar, so I won't repeat that. But if you're interested in that, we also have an article. I'll show that in just a second. So great stuff with the LOA, EA, and the Black Widow. If you want to first check out the signals, you can also join ECS Live, and you'll see Nenet's live signals, and then you can decide about that if you're interested. All right, so that's one of the new things that happened in September. Very excited about that, as you can see. Other things this month, we have a lot of things going on, to be honest. One of the other things I wanted to mention is our blog. It's not maybe something that comes to mind as the first thing, but we got really a lot of analysis and education here on a daily basis. You see Nenet's live trading webinar, his trading journal, my usual euro dollar and pound dollar video, but we're also adding more education. Check out, for instance, the applying fractals for using deeper price patterns on the chart. Goes really into detail about that. Microsoft analysis. We're trying to make a lot of variation in our analysis, so definitely recommend that. For instance, here you see more about the London Open Advanced in an article. Of course, we mentioned it last week's webinar, but if you're looking for all the info in one spot with all the links, back testing, data, this is the article that you want to check out. I'll actually, I can add that link right here in the chat, because it has it all here, as you can see. Very comprehensive overview of all the data from backtesting and the start of live trading. Okay, so anyhow, you'll find that in the blog too. Why stocks with dividends are important. Usual wave analysis and technical analysis from myself and Nenet, but also how to pick a trustworthy automated strategy. Bitcoin, is Intel worth buying? Siemens. We got Alphabet. Learn where fractals and SWOT candles are important. What else do we have? This is also very useful. How to analyze and trade charts via step-by-step case study. It's about 30 pages, so don't get scared, but there are a lot of images that take it step by step. So I really think that we have a lot of content here, and wanted to mention that as something that is also new in September. I think we've been really adding a lot in this month. Third thing is we got a lot of new things coming, happen this month. Is we're adding a lot of live webinars. So for instance, not only these automated trading webinars now for a few months, not only ECS live trading, although you have to be a member for that, but we have, don't forget, the LOA EA official webinar. It's still coming, the 5th of October. So although here you have the article here, if you want to hear it from us directly, Nenet and I are co-hosting that webinar next week, Monday, I think that is. Then on Tuesday, a new EA is being launched and introduced. That is the Rush EA from Mislav Nikolic. All right. We have, I'll say more in this webinar, a little bit about that already. So be patient for that. And we got wave trading webinars. We had yesterday options trading webinar. So there's a lot of regular webinars here, as you can see. And we also have Nanet's webinar on Black Widow and London Open. It's somehow disappeared. But he will have one end of October as well. So we got a lot of things going on. Fourthly is yesterday's options webinar with Marco Doni, options expert at ECS, and known in Italy specifically by a few things, actually. His trading books on options, but also the fact that he's contributing live on TV with the CNBC Italy. So it's great that he's part of the team. And he had a webinar yesterday, second webinar actually, explaining more about options and how it helps you with stock trading, how you can use option strategies to make profits from the stock markets in a less, quite passive way, not as stressful maybe as, let's say, Forex and CFD trading on an intraday basis. So that webinar is coming up. Here you can check out his page if you're interested in going further with Marco. And we're going to upload the webinar soon to the YouTube channel, so you can check out that as well. Fifthly is the Russia. So Mislav Nikolic coming with another EA besides Ultimate EA. We're going to have an article coming soon. It hasn't been uploaded yet to our website, but that will happen today or tomorrow. And the Russia, you might be wondering, of course, what is the difference with Ultimate EA and stuff like that. Well, all of that is going to be explained in the live webinar with Mislav and myself on Tuesday, the 6th of October. So join that webinar to get the full details. I can already send you the link there. But I can already give you a little bit of a hint. It's a 5-minute chart, euro dollar again, but 5-minute. It's more of a scalping strategy, more setups, and although the drawdown is a little bit more compared to Ultima, the consistency of the results from a monthly perspective, there's more consistency than Ultima, which could have a few months slow, and then 1 month, a huge move up, and then again a few months slow. And the Russia is more consistent with gains more distributed over the months. Okay. Abdus, can you tell me which email you use? That would be great info for us, because I can double check who didn't reply or what happened because normally we always do our best to make sure all emails get replied. All right. Feel free to please. So one thing is, please let me know to which email address you sent the email. And secondly, if you could resend it with me in the copy. I just added my email address. So if you can CC me with the email that you sent 2 weeks ago and add me again, then I'll try to investigate what happened with that. Okay, because we always 100% try to answer all emails and as fast as we can. It can take sometimes maybe 1-2 days, obviously, but 2 weeks is too long. So those are one of the differences. But check out the live webinar here next week, Tuesday, for more information on that. So as you can see, a lot of things going on. If you want more information or an overview about that, check out this link here. Go to services, either check options or Forex and CFD. And with Forex and CFD, you have the overview here: Ultimate EA, CAMACD, Zeus EA, ECS Live, my own SWAT, and Russia. Okay, so anyhow, let's take a quick sneak peek. It's not the end of September yet, but let's take a look at some of the results. Abdus is mentioning a 11% drawdown. And yeah, those things can happen with EAs, with any system, I guess, but specifically if you're trading with 5% risk or even 3% risk, that is quite a lot of risk. It's still within the tolerable levels, right? But I'll never go above 5%. That's way too much. But obviously, if you trade with such high risks, there's going to be drawdowns. 11%, in fact, is not that much, to be honest, if you're trading with 3 to 5% risk, because that could be just 2 to 3 losses in a row, and it can happen with any system, right? So that's something you got to be aware of. This month, so far, my account 23%, but let's take a look at the profit share account. I think it's more relevant. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to reach out. We'll take a look at all the EAs now and the current performance, but once again, it's just 2 days left, so things can change. We'll take a look at the final numbers next week. Use of course, the Google form, as I already mentioned here in the chat, to reach out with questions so we can answer them in the live webinar. I didn't see any new questions from last week. And if you have any questions right here, right now, feel free to use the chat box. All right, Ultimate EA profit share members this month. Let's see what the status is at this point. I'm not sure if there are any open trades, but there seem to be open trades indeed. Today, I think I see one. But this month, profit share members 18% plus 18. So that's great because June was break even. Last profitable month was May. June was break even, and then we had two smaller losses here, minus 14 and minus 9. So of course, it would be great to have a positive month. Hopefully this open trade will be a winner, and then this plus 18 can go up a bit more. Zeus EA total so far plus 28. So yeah, a little bit slower than we were used to from Ultimate EA, but slower months can happen. We had the same end of last year, for instance. All right, then we have Zeus EA for the profit share members, our own account. I can show that too, by the way. Is up 3% at this moment, but it didn't really fully start, I think, at the beginning of this month. I can check when it started quickly. That might be a bit difficult to check. Let's see. I can indeed. Yeah, expected gain, could be anywhere between 5 and 10% on average. This is not an EA that's going to suddenly provide. Most cases, they're not going to provide, in a 1 month plus 50. Typically, the months are positive, but in the lower range, lower relative for Forex and CFD trading, 5 to 10. It did start, actually, it started around the 4th. So it actually is a full month, almost a full month, not fully, but. Our own account is up 6% at this point, but it has the full month, and a bit lower percentage is expected because of the fact that we're trading slightly less than the max risk here. All right, so not a bad month. Not as good as August, but still positive and still good. So with London Open Advanced, it is in a drawdown at this moment. About minus 8%. But this EA making about plus 100% in a year. So it's not something that is going to skyrocket maybe like some other EAs like Rush EA and Ultimate EA. Slower. So yeah, this is performance that you're not necessarily going to see big performance in the first couple of months of trading. Okay, so far slightly negative, and then Russia up 54% this month for myself. This is the profit share account that I have capital on that profit share account. Now, I was unlucky to, if you look at the back testing, I actually started at the peak, almost at the peak, and then I went to the drawdown. So I had a little bit unlucky starting moment, and if you have that, you can stay in a kind of a negative territory for a bit longer. Whereas if I would have started more at the end of that drawdown, I would have been up. As you can see, this month was, but nicely recovered from that drawdown though. Misov's account is up because he started a bit better moment. That happens, for instance, we already talked about that when traders started at the beginning of June with Ultima EA. They started at this peak after 1, 2, 3 moves up. Then the bigger drawdown happened, and there has been a recovery, but they're still slightly down because it hasn't passed the previous peak. So yeah, you can be unlucky if you, depending on the starting moment, if you start at a peak, then it could be a bit lengthy. You have to wait a little bit before you get out of that drawdown because of the starting moment. That could be unlucky. Whereas some started in January, for instance, and they witnessed this boom up, right? So they were lucky. That said, those who started maybe didn't start with exactly the capital they wanted. Maybe they started with less capital. So what happened is they started with a small amount here. They saw it push up a lot. Then they added capital right at the peak, and then they saw it go and dry down. So, when to start is one thing, but also when you add capital, remove capital, those are very tricky things. And they can make a difference. Misa, for instance, added capital about here when the drawdown was over and managed to actually make money on that moment that he added that capital. So I think it would be a good idea to actually have a webinar on trading the equity curve itself. We talked about that a little bit already, but maybe we can dedicate a webinar to that. That could make sense. Dan is asking if these briefings, they're the same day, Tuesdays, usually at 7:30 a.m. GMT time, with the exception of the last Tuesday in the month. Actually, this Tuesday is usually in the evenings, but I moved it today from the evening to the morning. So, but otherwise, always on Tuesdays, mostly at 7:30 a.m. We're planning to do one in the evening, the last Tuesday of the month, to offer a webinar time in the evening so that traders could join at a different kind of moment of the day. Wow, that's great, Dan, that you're so diversified with Ultima, SWAT, Zeus, and Black Widow. That's really that's great, and gives you a lot of iron in the fires, as it said, a lot of options. And I hope to expand SWAT actually, with some new systems in the next weeks. All right, that's what I wanted to share today. Are there any questions you might have at this moment? London Open Advanced is based on London Open Breakout, by the way, but we'll explain everything in that webinar. Russia is based on pullbacks and trends, aiming at shorter targets than Ultima. I will explain everything on that next week, Tuesday. I don't want to reveal too much. SUSIA grid system, some small martingale in it as well to get bigger wins out of it. And of course, some traders think that's a risky element, and I thought so in the past too. But with 4.5 years of backtesting, they proved to me that it's a solid approach. And of course, Ultima EA, based on 15-minute, with the trend, aiming at fib targets, moving averages. Ali, yeah, I would like to indeed. I want to finish the backtesting that I'm doing about about trading breakouts with pending orders, so as to minimize on the 4-hour chart, so as to minimize with little trade management. So it really requires little time, and I think it would be also a great thing indeed for other traders that have little time. So I'm working on that. I don't know when, but my goal is end of October, I guess. All right. I guess that's it. Thanks, everyone, for being here. And we'll be back tomorrow with a new Euro Dollar Pound Dollar video. And next week, of course, with this same webinar. And wish everyone great trading. Cheers. Bye-bye.